learning lines. I've heard lots of people talk about this problem and be worried about it because they've got to learn a part in a short period of time, or because they fear their memory's going. And the same sort of answers get come out with by people. I was at a conference the other day of doctors at a hospital in New York, and one of them, who's supposed to be a sort of world authority on the memory, really didn't have anything new to say. And I was quite shocked. I thought they were going to come up with techniques and I think the most important first piece of advice about learning lines is to say that you know to a large extent what the problem is, that you're a bit anxious about it, that you're not really trying hard enough, that you don't want to learn the lines that much, you're being a bit lazy, all of that. You know roughly what's going on. And I'm suggesting that you should know more about what's going on. That, first of all, we all know that if we're learning lines, we should do it in a reasonably quiet, reasonably relaxed situation. And I'm suggesting that you should prepare to spend some time learning your lines. So there'll be a period in which there's maybe just some music going on, maybe you're just having a cup of tea, whatever. But that you are just trying to just relax and not do anything for a few minutes, knowing that soon you will sit down and you will be spending a couple of hours doing nothing else but working on these lines, and you won't stop in the middle of it, you will keep at it for a couple of hours. And really making the environment comfortable and quiet. Switch off your phone, switch off the TV, switch off the music, get the script together. So I'm sure you will have heard it said by lots of people, get a pleasant environment in which to learn your lines. And I'm just underlining it. I'm saying really go for that. Right. Another thing which helps on learning lines is to work out what they really mean. It's incredibly hard to learn lines and remember lines if you don't really know what they mean. And often that's the situation. And one way which may help on this is that all sentences have only one operative word. There is one word that is the most important. There may be another word which is a silver medal winner, but there's only one. Occasionally there's a tie, but nearly always there's one word that's the most important word. And when you're reading a sentence in a script, if you try and work out, well, which is the most important word? 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 Well, you've got to work out which it is that you're going to say, which it is that the script really means. And by doing that, by deciding on one word, you will get at the meaning of it. And once you've got the meaning of it, it'll be much easier for the mind to remember what it is. So that will be a help. If you simply do what I sometimes do, which is get a piece of paper and tear it up into quarters and eighths, and you put them all on one side of the room, and you take one piece of paper and put it over there, and you run the entire script, and then you do it again with number 2, and then when you run through all 8, you do it another 8 times, so you know you've done it 16 times, and then you're going to sit down and have a drink. Then you're really just repeating the fact that you don't know the lines. You want some sort of improvement to occur. So another thing that may help is if you put your hand down the page and cover just the very end of the lines. Just the last letter, maybe, and not the last letter on all of the lines even. So it's incredibly easy to read them still with your hand covering up a couple of letters. And if you don't quite remember what that word is and you have to cheat at it, well, okay, now you know what the word is and you can get through to the end of it. And now move your hand slightly further across. And now move your hand slightly further across. Well, of course, you know where I'm going. And the point comes where you'll find that you're reading the thing and, in fact, you've covered virtually the whole page, if not the whole page up, and you know it. There's at least one other little tip I was going to throw in here, and this all may sound rather disappointing because what you want is a magic way of learning lines. But the more you work at learning lines, the better you become at it. It's just a fact. Once you sit down and start studying a script, it's not that you spend an extra hour on the script that makes it possible for you to have learnt it. It's the fact that the first hour got your brain going, got your brain receptive. The brain does get better at learning lines, so push yourself into it. The hard work is at the beginning. But I want to throw in one last thought on this, and that's that a lot of people don't know what it's possible to do with learning lines. And I'm going to brag here, I'm afraid. I did a film a little while ago, and I was able to do everybody's lines, including my own, at speed, word for word, backwards, all the way through. And I can certainly do most plays I do, most people's parts, including my own, line for line, backwards. And on some lines I could do words 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8. And if you think, well, who the hell would want to do that? The point is this. I'm only pointing out to you that it's interesting to know, although I don't normally do this with scripts. God, too much hard work. But just to know that it's possible for the brain to know lines like that. To know that it's possible to jump 5'6". You know, you don't have to do it ever again, but you know it's possible. Then that makes it very easy to jump 5 foot. And if you know that you can get the lines almost in your DNA, they're so solid. When Michael Caine and Anthony Hopkins, they learn their lines incredibly well, unbelievably well. They learn their lines like that. And they know them so solidly, particularly in the case of Caine, that I'm sorry to have to say that sometimes I'm not sure his performances are that brilliant. But he's not bothered, because he can stand in front of a camera and the line's going to come out. And at least he's going to be relaxed, because he just knows them. And the fact that just for you to know, I'm not suggesting that you should try and do this, I'm just saying that for you to know that it is possible to learn lines that well, means that maybe you'll give yourself a break and think, well, in that case, if I learn my lines pretty well, I'll feel quite good about myself. And that won't be such an impossibly difficult task. I may have other thoughts about learning lines, and they may occur to me, and I may make another film about the subject and add it to the channel, or it may simply be a part of the many other films that there are here for you to watch. But for now, that's it.